There comes a moment in every life when the noise becomes unbearable, when the world pulls at you from every direction, when distractions scatter your focus, and when the dream you once held in your hands starts to slip away. But listen carefully. This is the moment you reclaim your destiny. This is the moment you lock in, silence the world, and return to the promise you made to yourself long before you knew how difficult the journey would be. Have you forgotten who you said you would become? Or is that version of you still waiting patiently, powerfully for you to return and choose them again? Your life will not be built by accident. You will not stumble into the person you promised yourself you'd be. You must build that version brick by brick, choice by choice, discipline by discipline. Every day is an invitation to rise, to realign, to remember why you started. You must ask yourself, what am I allowing into my mind? What is stealing my attention? What is pulling me away from becoming the person I know I was meant to be? Because distraction is not just the enemy of productivity, it is the enemy of purpose. And purpose requires focus. Purpose requires hunger. Purpose requires a kind of tunnel vision that the average person will never understand. There is a reason the world distracts you. There is a reason your phone, your fears, your doubts, your habits fight for your attention. Because if you ever learned to truly lock in, if you ever learned to channel all your energy in one direction, toward one identity, one mission, you would become unstoppable. And deep down, you know this. You felt that power before. Maybe it was only for a moment. Maybe it was when everything clicked and you said to yourself, this is who I'm supposed to be. That version of you hasn't disappeared. They're still inside you, waiting for you to show up with the same fire, the same commitment, the same relentless will to grow. But let's be honest, becoming that person requires sacrifice. It requires walking alone. It requires turning away from the easy path. You must discipline your mind, break old patterns, and release the identity that no longer fits your future. You can't become who you promised yourself you'd be while entertaining the distractions that are destroying your focus. You can't step into your higher self while feeding your lower habits. You can't chase destiny with your eyes still glued to everything that drains your energy. So ask yourself right now, what are you willing to give up so you can rise into the life you're meant to live? Because this journey is spiritual, it's emotional, it's internal before it's ever external. The battles you fight will be inside you, battles with doubt, fear, laziness, old wounds, old memories, old voices. The version of you that gave up in the past will try to pull you back. The version of you that felt small will whisper that you're not enough. But the truth is this, your spirit has outgrown those limitations. Your soul is calling you forward. And when the soul speaks, it speaks with authority. It whispers the same message again and again. Lock in. No distractions. Build the person you promised yourself you'd be. What if this is the turning point you've been waiting for? What if today is the day you reclaim your story? What if everything you lost, everything that hurt you, everything that challenged you was preparing you for the strength you're stepping into right now? You are not being asked to be perfect. You are being asked to be committed. You are being asked to be conscious. You are being asked to wake up every morning and choose the version of you that lives with intention, not the version that lives on autopilot. You know the life you want. You know the qualities you admire. You know the calling that keeps tugging at your heart. So breathe deeply and understand this truth. Becoming that person is not a dream, it is a decision. A decision made in silence, in stillness, in the secret place where only you know who you truly want to become. The world will never hand you that identity. You must build it yourself with patience, with resilience, with unshakable belief. So step forward, step boldly, step intentionally. Silence every distraction that steals your future. Close every door that leads back to who you were. This is your season of focus, your season of elevation, your season of becoming. And now, hear this declaration rise within you. I lock in. I rise above noise. I discipline my mind. I command my attention. I walk with purpose. I build with intention. I become the person I promised myself I'd be. My future answers to my focus, and I will not be distracted. Every transformation begins long before the world ever sees it. It starts deep inside the mind, in that quiet place where your real battles are fought and your real victories are born. Locking in your mind is the foundation of everything you will ever become, because if your thoughts remain scattered, unfocused, or easily shaken, then your actions will always follow the same pattern. Ask yourself right now, how can you build a disciplined life with an undisciplined mind? How can you chase a higher calling with thoughts that still drift toward the lower version of you? How can you rise when your mind is still tied to everything that pulls you down? This is where the inner work begins, right here, in the space where your future is, being shaped by what you allow yourself to think, believe, imagine, and accept. Focus is not an action. Focus is a decision. It is a spiritual decision, a deliberate shift in your inner identity. When you lock in mentally, you're not just thinking differently, you're becoming someone different. Everything around you begins to change because you are changing your internal direction. You begin to see distractions for what they truly are, invisible chains disguised as entertainment, noise disguised as necessity, comfort disguised as purpose. And once you mentally lock in, you stop falling for the traps that once controlled you. You stop giving your attention away like it has no value. You stop allowing random thoughts to interrupt the future you're trying to build. Have you noticed how powerful you feel on the days your mind is clear, sharp, and aligned? That is your true self. That is the version of you that's capable of everything you dream about. Locking in your mind also means refusing to negotiate with doubt. Doubt will whisper every excuse, every fear, every reason why you're not ready. But doubt only survives when your mind is unfocused. The moment you center yourself, the moment you decide, I'm going all in, no turning back, no hesitation, something shifts. You start moving differently. You speak differently. You walk with intention. Your priorities begin to reflect your purpose. Your habits start to align with the person you're becoming. You start acting like someone who knows where they're going. Ask yourself, what would happen if you devoted the same mental energy you give to worry to becoming better? What would your life look like if your mind worked for you instead of against you? And understand this truth, the mind will always follow the path you train it to follow. If you train it to wander, it will wander. If you train it to worry, it will worry. If you train it to focus, it will focus. Every thought you entertain either strengthens your future or weakens it. You must become the guardian of your mental space. You must become intentional about what enters your mind and what you allow to stay there. When a thought pulls you backward, challenge it. When a thought feeds your insecurities, replace it. When a thought empowers you, repeat it, reinforce it, anchor it. This is how you build mental discipline, by treating your thoughts as the building blocks of your life. The version of you that succeeds is built in the privacy of your inner world long before it manifests externally. And here's the hook. What if the only thing holding you back was the way you've been thinking about yourself? What if your potential has been waiting for you to finally lock in? What if your dream has been ready but your mind wasn't? When your mind locks onto a higher standard, everything in your life begins to rise. Your actions become sharper. Your goals become clearer. Your distractions become weaker. Your discipline becomes stronger. The moment your mind locks in, your life starts moving in the direction of your purpose with a force that can't be stopped. Your energy is not just something you wake up with, it is the lifeblood of your purpose, the quiet force that powers your decisions, your discipline, your ambition, and your identity. When your energy is scattered, everything in your life becomes scattered. When your energy is drained, your goals suddenly feel heavier, your dreams feel distant, and even small responsibilities feel overwhelming. But when your energy is protected, preserved, and directed with intention, you become a completely different version of yourself, stronger, clearer, more grounded, and far more capable of becoming who you promised yourself you'd be. The question is, do you treat your energy like it's sacred, or do you give it away to things that don't deserve even a moment of your life? Think about how many times you've felt exhausted without doing anything meaningful. How many days you've wasted feeling tired, unfocused, or emotionally empty because you allowed situations, environments, and people to drain you. Not everyone who reaches for your attention deserves it. Not everything that entertains you feeds you. Not every voice that speaks to you has earned the right to influence you. Your energy is not for everyone. And the moment you understand that, your life begins to shift. Because the truth is simple. The stronger your energy, the stronger your life becomes. The weaker your energy, the easier it is for life to pull you off track. Protecting your energy begins with awareness. Who are you giving your emotional fuel to? What habits are robbing you of clarity? What conversations leave you heavier instead of stronger? You must start paying attention to how you feel after the things you allow into your life. Do you feel elevated or drained? Do you feel inspired or depleted? Do you feel centered or confused? Your energy tells you the truth long before your mind does, and if you learn to listen to it, you will stop entertaining things that weaken you. What if the fatigue you keep feeling isn't from your workload, but from the people and distractions taking pieces of you every day? There is a difference between what looks harmless and what is actually harmful. A simple distraction can cost you hours of focus. A single negative conversation can shift your entire mood. One unresolved emotional issue can drain your energy quietly for months. This is why your energy must be treated as sacred, because every part of your life depends on it. Your goals require energy. Your healing requires energy. Your self-improvement requires energy. Your growth, discipline, and transformation all begin with the strength of the energy you carry every day. If your energy is weak, your life will reflect that weakness. If your energy is powerful, your life will begin to rise with you. And here's something people rarely realize: your energy introduces you before you speak. It shapes the quality of your relationships. It affects how others respond to you. It influences the opportunities that find their way into your life. A disciplined, focused, elevated energy attracts clarity, progress, and purpose. A chaotic, drained energy attracts the very things you're trying to escape. So ask yourself, what kind of life is your energy calling in right now? What kind of reality is it creating for you? Protecting your energy means setting boundaries without guilt. It means saying no without second-guessing yourself. It means stepping away from people who only take but never replenish. It means removing yourself from environments where your peace is constantly disturbed. It means choosing silence over chaos, growth over comfort, and purpose over distraction. And if someone asks why you're distancing yourself, the answer is simple: because your future deserves a stronger version of you than your past ever met. The most powerful decision you can make is to become selective. Selective with your time, selective with your circle, selective with your habits, selective with your focus. When you become selective, you don't shrink your life, you elevate it. You rise into a higher frequency, a higher identity, a higher standard. And everything that isn't aligned with that standard naturally begins to fall away. So consider this. What would your life look like if you truly protected your energy starting today? How much clearer would your mind become? How much more disciplined would your actions be? How much closer would you be to the person you promised yourself you'd become? Your energy is your power. Guard it, strengthen it, honor it, because everything you are building depends on it. There comes a moment in life when you realize that no one is coming to save you, no one is coming to rescue you, and no one is coming to hand you the strength you've been searching for. The person you've been waiting for, the one who guides you, lifts you, protects you, and leads you, is the person you must become. Becoming the person you once needed is not just an inspirational phrase, it is a deep, transformative calling. It is the moment your past meets your future, and the moment your pain becomes your power. Think about the younger version of you, the one who felt lost, confused, unsupported, or overlooked. That version of you still lives within you, waiting for you to step up and rise into the role they always needed. So ask yourself, what kind of person did you once pray for? What kind of strength did you desperately wish someone would give you? What kind of guidance did you crave but never received? Every challenge you've ever faced has been shaping you for this exact role. The nights you cried in silence, the days you pushed through pain, the seasons where you carried yourself when you didn't have the strength to, the disappointments that broke you open, the failures that forced you to grow. Every moment you survived created a deeper wisdom inside you, wisdom that was never meant to go to waste, wisdom that is part of the person you're becoming right now. You didn't go through what you went through for nothing. You were being built, you were being trained, you were being prepared to rise higher than the version of you who once struggled to survive. Becoming the person you once needed means refusing to repeat the cycles that hurt you. It means giving yourself the compassion you never received, offering yourself the support you never had, and committing to the growth no one knew how to guide you through. You are no longer that helpless version of yourself. You are no longer the one who accepts less than they deserve. You are no longer the one who waits for someone else to fix what you're capable of healing. You are stepping into a higher identity, one built with intention, resilience, and clarity. But here's the deeper truth. You cannot become that person while holding on to the wounds of who you used to be. You must release the pain, not because it didn't matter, but because it turned you into someone stronger. And imagine this for a moment. How different would your life be if you finally showed up as the version of yourself you once needed most? How would you speak to yourself? How would you handle challenges? How would you carry yourself in the world? The strongest version of you already knows how to navigate what once broke you. They know how to set boundaries. They know how to stay focused. They know how to choose growth over comfort and purpose over fear. They know how to lead with wisdom instead of insecurity. This version of you already exists. You're simply growing into them. This transformation is not about pretending to be strong. It's about remembering that you already are. It's about recognizing that everything you lacked from others, you can now give to yourself. You can become your own protector, your own motivator, your own healer, your own guide. You can offer yourself the affirmation, the patience, the discipline, the love, and the belief that no one ever gave you. And once you start doing that, everything in your life begins to shift. Your decisions become more intentional. Your relationships become healthier. Your confidence becomes unwavering. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. There is a higher version of you waiting, one who carries the lessons of your past, but is no longer defined by it. One who walks with calm strength because they know what they survived. One who doesn't chase validation because they've learned how to validate themselves. One who builds, grows, and rises because they understand that their future depends on who they choose to become today. Look at your journey. Look at your growth. Look at how far you've come despite everything that was meant to break you. If you ever doubt your strength, remember this. You are already becoming the person you once needed. You are stepping into that identity every time you choose discipline over distraction, healing over hurt, and purpose over fear. And now ask yourself one final, powerful question. If you continue growing at this level, who could you become next? Distraction is never loud at the beginning. It doesn't knock on your door with warning signs or bright red flags. It slips in quietly, disguised as something harmless, something small, something that looks like it couldn't possibly interfere with your purpose. Yet somehow, those small interruptions slowly grow into massive detours. Those tiny moments of lost focus stack on top of each other until you suddenly realize days, weeks, even months have passed without you moving closer to the life you've envisioned. It's never the giant obstacles that derail destinies, it's the silent, subtle distraction we allow again and again without noticing how much power they're stealing. So ask yourself honestly, what has been quietly cutting off your destiny while pretending to be innocent? Every destiny is protected by the discipline to stay focused. Every breakthrough requires the mental strength to shut down distractions before they shut down your progress. And every version of your higher self is waiting on the other side of your ability to master your attention. The truth is, distraction is not just a habit, it is a weapon. A quiet, patient weapon that pulls you away from your purpose, one small decision at a time. One more minute scrolling, one more moment daydreaming, one more hour doing what feels comfortable instead of what moves you forward. Have you ever wondered how much more powerful, more confident, more unstoppable you would be if you eliminated the things that keep pulling you backward? For most people, distraction feels harmless. They think they have time. They think they can catch up later. They think one moment lost doesn't matter. But destiny doesn't work like that. Destiny moves toward those who move with intention. Purpose gravitates toward those who prioritize it. And life expands for those who respect their focus. The more you allow distractions to enter your life, the more you train your mind to drift, wander, avoid, delay, and escape. But when you commit to cutting distractions off at the root, you train your mind to rise, to engage, to concentrate, and to operate with clarity. Cutting off distractions requires brutal honesty. You must confront the truth about what is stealing your best energy. You must recognize the patterns that keep pulling you into cycles you swore you were done with. You must admit that some things you call rest are actually escape. Some conversations you entertain are actually poison. Some habits you justify are actually anchors. What if the very things you think are harmless are the reason you haven't stepped fully into your potential? What if the dream you're chasing isn't far away? It's simply being suffocated by distractions you refuse to release. But here's the deeper reality. Every distraction you eliminate creates space for expansion. When you silence noise, clarity rises. When you step away from what drains you, strength returns. When you turn off what numbs you, passion awakens. When you stop giving your attention to the things that do not matter, You finally see the path toward the things that do. Imagine how different your life would be if your focus was protected like a treasure instead of given away carelessly like spare change. Imagine what you could accomplish if all your energy, time, creativity, and discipline were pointed in one direction instead of scattered everywhere. Cutting off distractions also requires courage to say no, courage to walk away, courage to be misunderstood, courage to choose your future over someone's opinion, courage to prioritize your purpose over temporary comfort. You must be willing to disappoint the world before you disappoint yourself. You must be willing to let go of what feels good in the moment so you can grow into what feels right for your life. Some people won't understand. Some habits won't want to die. Some environments won't want to release you. But you are not living for their approval or their comfort. You are living for the destiny that was designed for you and only you. So ask yourself right now, what is the one distraction that has held you back the longest? What would your life look like if you removed it today? What version of you would finally emerge once you stop giving your attention to things that do not deserve it? Your destiny is waiting, your future is calling, and the path becomes clear the moment you decide that distractions will no longer lead your life. You are stepping into a season where your focus becomes your power, your clarity becomes your strength, and your discipline becomes the doorway to everything you are meant to rise into. Consistency is the quiet architect of every transformation you admire. It is the unseen force shaping your character, your future, and your identity, one committed action at a time. Motivation may start the journey, but only consistency has the strength to finish it. And yet, most people live their lives chained to their emotions, moving only when they feel inspired, showing up only when it's convenient, working only when excitement is high. But greatness doesn't care about your mood. Discipline doesn't depend on inspiration. The life you want is built by what you do repeatedly, not occasionally. So ask yourself right now, are your habits building the person you promised yourself you'd become, or are they keeping you in the same cycle you swore you'd break? Consistency is the separation line between the dreamers and the doers. Anyone can start. Anyone can talk about goals. Anyone can imagine a different life. But only if you have the strength to show up every single day, even on the days when everything feels heavy, uncertain, or inconvenient. Those are the days that define your identity. Those are the days that shape your future. Those are the days when your character grows. When you push forward without motivation, you are training your mind to obey purpose instead of emotion. You are teaching yourself that your actions are not negotiable. You are building a version of yourself who is dependable, stable, resilient, unshakable. Consistency means choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It means doing the work even when no one is watching, even when no praise follows, even when progress is invisible. Because real growth rarely announces itself. It builds quietly, layer by layer, habit by habit, decision by decision. You won't always see results immediately, but every consistent action is planting a seed beneath the surface. One day the world will see what you watered for months or years, but until then, you must trust the process. Are you willing to be consistent even when the results are silent? Are you willing to keep going even when nothing seems to be changing? That is where most people fall off. That is where your strength must rise. Your emotions cannot be the driver of your life. They are temporary, unpredictable, and unreliable. If you depend on feeling ready, you will live your whole life waiting. Consistency demands that you act regardless of feeling. Show up whether you feel powerful or exhausted. Work on your goals, whether you feel confident or insecure. Build the habits that your future requires, not the ones your comfort prefers. Every time you choose action over emotion, you are strengthening the discipline that will carry you into the life you desire. And the truth is, the days you show up without motivation often become the days you grow the most. Why? Because you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Consistency also reveals who you truly are. When you show up for something every day, you declare that it matters to you. You declare that your future is worth the effort. You declare that your identity is shifting from who you were to who you're becoming. And here's something powerful to consider. What if the only thing separating you from your breakthrough is the consistency you haven't committed to yet? What if the life you want is not far away? It's simply waiting for you to keep showing up long enough to reach it. Every great transformation in your life will require consistency before results. Discipline before confidence. Action before clarity. Repetition before mastery. Nothing meaningful will come from doing things once in a while. Everything extraordinary comes from doing the right things every single day. And the moment you understand this, the moment you fully embrace this truth, your entire mindset changes. You stop chasing motivation and start building habits. You stop relying on mood and start relying on commitment. You stop wishing and start working. So imagine your life 1 year from now if you committed to true consistency. Imagine the strength you would build. Imagine the skills you would master. Imagine the confidence, the discipline, the identity you would carry. Imagine waking up and realizing you became the person you once doubted. You could be simply because you refused to break your own commitment. Your future is not built in big moments. It is built in the small, repeated decisions you make every single day. And those decisions are shaping the person you promised yourself you'd become. When you reach the 6th turning point in your journey of growth, you begin to understand something most people ignore their entire lives. Your environment is not neutral. It is either pulling you forward or quietly dragging you backward, and the shocking truth is that your most powerful breakthroughs often begin the moment you stop excusing the places, habits, and people that drain your potential. There comes a point when you feel a subtle but undeniable shift, almost like life is whispering that the version of you who once fit perfectly in certain circles has outgrown the room, and forcing yourself to stay small for the comfort of others is costing you more than you realize. You sense it when conversations no longer nourish you, when old routines begin to feel like chains, when the thought of staying where you are feels heavier than the fear of stepping into the unknown. This moment is not comfortable. It was never meant to be. Growth rarely introduces itself with applause. Instead, it comes disguised as restlessness, dissatisfaction, or boredom, urging you to question the patterns you once accepted as normal. This discomfort is an invitation, a signal that life is preparing to elevate you. And yet, so many people ignore that invitation because change feels risky, because the mind tries to convince them that staying still is safer than stepping forward. But if you look closely, you realize that the real danger was never in moving, it was in refusing to evolve. There is a powerful shift that happens when you finally decide to choose environments that align with the identity you're trying to build instead of the identity you're trying to outgrow. Suddenly, you begin to see how much mental space was being occupied by negativity, distractions, and small-minded influences. You notice how much clarity appears the moment you distance yourself from noise. You feel it in the conversations that challenge you instead of draining you, in the habits that strengthen you instead of weakening you, in the people who push you to rise instead of pulling you back into versions of yourself you've already outlived. This is the phase where you learn that the fastest way to change your life is to change what surrounds you. But this transition also brings resistance. Not everyone will understand the shift inside you. Some will misread your growth as arrogance. Some will accuse you of changing too much, not realizing that staying the same would have been a betrayal of your own potential. The irony is that the more you evolve, the more you realize how little validation you need from those who don't share your vision. You begin to understand that letting go is not abandonment, it is alignment. It is choosing progress over comfort, purpose over familiarity, elevation over stagnation. As you move through this phase, you begin to trust yourself in deeper ways. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking to fit spaces that were never designed for your expansion. You begin to treat your dreams as responsibilities instead of wishes, and you become intentional about who and what you allow into your mental ecosystem. This is where your discipline strengthens. Not because motivation suddenly increased, but because distraction decreased. What felt overwhelming before now feels manageable because your focus is no longer being scattered in 100 directions. You start noticing small victories in your life: better decisions, clearer thinking, improved habits, renewed energy. And these reinforce the belief that you were right to distance yourself from what was holding you back. You begin to feel the momentum of becoming someone you're proud of, and slowly, you understand that upgrading your environment wasn't just a step in your journey. It was the foundation that allowed every other part of your life to rise with you.